Welcome to today's Zaleski Sports Show. I'm your host, Jason Zaleski, sponsored today by Fleet Farm, and talking today to newly announced DC Everest Evergreens football head coach, Braden Mitchell. Coach, congratulations on the spot. They tell me you are the 6th ever Evergreens football coach. What is that? How do those words take you?
Yeah, I was a little shocked by that. I know, there's a rich tradition here at DC Everest. And I know the legend of Stephen Hagan. So I guess, when I kind of think about it, okay, it makes a little more sense. But yeah, I was a little shocked too when I heard 6th ever. That kind of threw me off.
Yeah, back in my playing days, that legend was a couple of running clock games over when I was with the Marshville Tigers. So catch us up on your football experience. So tell us about your football experience, coaching, and then what led up to say January 1st. So we'll stop it there.
Yeah. So yeah, originally I'm from Utah, Layton, just north of Salt Lake. Played high school ball at Northridge High School, and then soon after graduating, had an opportunity to start coaching there, and kind of started at the lower levels and worked my way up, and then was an offensive coordinator for a few years before our head coach decided to take another job. And so I was 27 at the time, and wasn't sure if I was ready to be a head coach, but the opportunity was there. I went through the process and earned the job, and spent 3 years as the head coach there. And then, we like to say, like, our world kind of flipped. My wife got offered a great opportunity out here in central Wisconsin for a job, and situation that we thought about and was kind of put us in a spot where we couldn't turn it down. So we moved out here, me, my wife, and my 2 daughters. And that was in the midst of COVID. So it was quite the time to move and uproot your family. But it's been a great experience. We've loved it. It's been awesome. She's doing great at her job. And so, yeah, when we had that opportunity, that company flew us out here, and I got to meet with a bunch of coaches in the area, which was huge to kind of start building relationships with people in the area. And turned out that the best fit for me was at Spash at the time, with Coach McAdams. He was looking for somebody to take the offense, and I kind of was the right guy at the time. And then every year since, I've kind of been bounced around and had a different head coach. So had 1 year with McAdams, and then 1 year with Coach Krenz that took over in the interim role. And then after that, I spent a year at UWSP with Coach Benet in his first year as a quarterbacks coach. And then last year, got in touch with Coach Strelo, and again, kind of had a fit for, hey, we need somebody to help with our quarterbacks. And we ended up kind of implementing a new passing scheme that they hadn't really run in the past, that was stuff that I had done. And I think we had success with it, and had a pretty successful year, and excited to build on that. But yeah, that was up until about January. That was what the plan was.
While you're at Spash, you got to see Everest as an opponent, and then in central Wisconsin, you got to hear about DC Everest, and then on the staff last year. What have you learned about the Evergreens way? What do you know about being a DC Everest Evergreen?
Yeah, I mean, they're tough. Like, I think that was you hear about the rich tradition, but I think, even when meeting with other coaches and stuff, and we didn't know where we were going to live at the time, but it was, hey, yeah, DC Everest is a great school. A lot of tough kids. They pound the rock. They play great defense. And so, yeah, it had that reputation. And then, yeah, getting to see, I mean, you see why when you play against them. And then this last year that I was with them, great offensive linemen that just seemed to come through here. And then, I mean, we had 2 great running backs in the Bankston brothers last year. And I think that's kind of been a staple here as well. So just great kids that work hard, and they're tough kids.
Talking to DC Everest Evergreens football coach, Braden Mitchell. Coach, now let's talk about why. On the staff last year, obviously there was an opening, but why you? Why now?
Yeah, I mean, when we left Utah, I didn't know if I was going to be a head coach again. I kind of had the perfect scenarios. The school that I went to, it kind of worked out perfectly. And when we left that, I was kind of had to come to grips with, like, hey, I might just be an assistant, and I might just, if I can just be an offense coordinator, that's great. And I was living the stay-at-home dad life, and all that goes along with that. But I was really happy in the role that I was in. But when this opportunity came about, it was kind of like, hey, this is something that you don't you don't turn down. This is an opportunity. It's where we live. We're raising our girls here. We love the area. The community support has been outstanding, and you could see that. I could see that before I was on staff, and then definitely got to see firsthand while on staff. And the facility that they're building is outstanding. So yeah, it just kind of seemed like, hey, everything fit into place, and I'd rather not have to go on my 5th different head coach in 5 years. Like if something had to happen, like, yeah, why not me? And yeah, I mean, the process was a little bit long. It's been open for a little bit, but I think that they knew how important this job was, and they wanted to make sure they did it right. And I think however long the process was, we got here, and now we're here and ready to go.
Talk about Evergreens football in 2023, 5-2 in conference. That was good enough for second place. And then a first-round exit and a bruising one at that at the hands of the Neenah Rockets. What kind of shape is the program in coming into the spring and summer?
Yeah, I think, you lose a game like that, like you really find out about yourself a little bit, and you find out, hey, where do we need to get to? I think, the Valley is a great conference. It's very competitive. You see that with, a different team winning it and having some co-champions in the last few years. But I really think the next step for, and probably all of the schools in this conference is, hey, how do we move along in the playoffs? Because I think that's kind of what we're all finding out is like, hey, it's competitive here, but when we go play, in the Fox Valley or the Big Rivers and those schools, like, hey, we need to start moving along in the playoffs. And so I think we got our eyes open quite a bit by Neenah and kind of seeing, hey, what they do. And I mean, that's a school that's had success, and they've got things in a good spot. And so, yeah, I think we have a lot of guys coming back that got to have that taste. And, I think it's made them a little more hungry this offseason, that it's not just about, what we do in non-conference games or in the but like we have goals of more than that too.
Yeah, let's talk about, say the next 3 to 5 years and, where you want the program to be. Where do you think it's headed? In the college game, the coach comes in and you're kind of told, well, listen, you got 3 to 4 years to turn this thing around. But in the college game, you get to recruit and form your own team and all. That's not the same thing in high school. So just for you, what are some goals for you as a coach? And then just for the program over these next 3 to 4 years?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're in a unique spot. Like, it's not rebuilding a program. It's not starting from the bottom. Like, it's in a good spot. Now we take it from good to great. I think, a big focus for me and the current staff that we have is we've got to get better at the younger levels of developing kids. And, that's kind of, looking at it as a 5-year deal. Like, it's a lot of those 7th graders right now that, hey, we got to get working with those kids. We got to get building. And I think there's the right kids in place. I think, there's the right group of guys in place. It's just, we all got to get on the same page and start building that thing. And I think that's kind of the key to the good programs, not the teams that just are good one year, but those programs, it's throughout. It's 7th through 12th that are really successful.
New coach is a fresh start. New conference alignment is a fresh start. Hortonville, Appleton West, Wausau East out. In comes Eau Claire Memorial and Eau Claire North. Just talk about the conference alignment that's coming up this season.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I'm still, getting to know all the schools and different things. But yeah, I'm excited about, a little bit of a shakeup. I think you still have the core group of us in this conference, but yeah, getting to play some of those Eau Claire schools and then the crossover games that we'll have as well. I know we play Chippewa Falls, which we've played the last few years. But yeah, I mean, I see the Big Rivers as very, very comparable to the Valley, and I think very competitive. So all those games, I think, our season schedule there. I don't think there's any letdowns. So we open with Rice Lake and we're getting going right off the bat.
Lastly, Coach, I'll give you a chance here to kind of talk to some of the boys in the school that are going to be watching this interview and give you a chance to kind of speak to them through us here. Some of those boys are playing baseball, they're track and field, maybe they're golfers, maybe they're sitting on the couch just waiting for football season to start up. But what do you expect your football players to be doing from now until when camp opens the last week in July?
Yeah, I mean, I hope there are not too many sitting on the couch. Most of them, I think I just saw in the weight room. So yeah, I mean, football is kind of that year-round deal that, when we're not in season, like there's always the weight room. You can always find the weight room. We've got it open enough times. And that's what I kind of talked to them about yesterday when we had our team meeting, was to talk about like, hey, we need to see you working. We need to see you in the weight room, getting after it. But we do have a lot of spring sports kids, which is awesome. Like I love you're only in high school for so long, like do everything that you can. So we have a lot that are on the track, playing baseball, playing lacrosse, even a few that are golfing. So we got a lot that are doing that, but I think we're in the right spot. I think, like I said, like coming off of that game against Neenah, like we're hungry, and we know what we need to be doing to get us right by July.
DC Everest Evergreens head football coach Braden Mitchell. We will talk to you again this fall.
Thank you.
Want to save even more at Fleet Farm? Well, now you can with Fleet Rewards. It's free to sign up and there's no credit card required. Using Fleet Rewards is easy. Earn points every time you shop. Plus, get exclusive member offers, birthday and anniversary perks, free tire rotations, and more. Download the Fleet Farm app or create an account at fleetfarm.com/rewards to start earning points today. Fleet Farm, proudly serving the Midwest since 1955.